Homa, not Charlie Smith, Jong Banji, Georgia Strait. I'm the editor of the Georgia Strait, which is a weekly newspaper in Vancouver. And I'm happy to be back for another week with WOW TV. This week in the news, I'm going to start with prescription drugs. And many people don't realize that Canada has some of the highest prescription drug prices in the world. On a per capita basis, Canadians pay about $903 per year as of 2010 figures, and that's almost triple what they pay in New Zealand and more than double what people pay in the United Kingdom. The only country that's significantly higher than us is the United States. So the Vancouver Centre MP, Dr. Hedy Fry, who's with the Liberals, held a community meeting this week to seek input from the public on the issue of prescription drug prices. Because one of the things the Liberal Party is talking about is a national pharmacare program. And at the moment, drugs are bought by provincial governments, insurance companies, so there's a very balkanized system. The BC government actually does a very good job in terms of buying drugs at cheaper prices than most of the other provinces. But across the country, this is a big problem, and Hedy Fry says that the savings, if we did what was done along the lines of New Zealand or Britain, it would save $14 billion a year. So we're talking serious money. And the pharmacare program provincially, it buys the drugs. So if you're in the hospital and you need prescription drugs, you get the drugs for free. They also offer subsidies for low-income people and seniors on drugs. So this is a very important public policy issue and hasn't gotten a lot of attention. In the 2004 Health Accord that Prime Minister Paul Martin negotiated, there was a provision for the federal government to discuss with the provinces a pharmacare, an approach to dealing with a national pharmacare on a national basis. But since Stephen Harper became Prime Minister, he has stopped meeting with the premiers on health issues. Another big story in the news, beginning on Monday, September 9th, is an initiative that has been launched by Dana Larson, who's one of the most best-known marijuana crusaders in British Columbia. And what he would like to do is gather enough signatures to try to start a process to stop the police from charging people for possession of marijuana. It's quite complicated, and it comes under the initiative and recall legislation that BC has. And what he needs to do is to get the signatures of 10% of the voters in all 85 constituencies in BC. And what they will be signing on for is a measure to amend the Police Act to make it virtually impossible for the police to arrest people for simple possession of marijuana, as well as to create a commission and do a bunch of other things to get the ball rolling towards full legalization. They've legalized possession of marijuana in Washington state. One of the problems for people who are convicted of marijuana possession is they can no longer travel to the United States. So for some young people, it imposes travel restrictions on them. And even in the case of Justin Trudeau, the leader of the federal Liberal Party, who admitted that he smoked marijuana, that admission alone makes him inadmissible to the United States. So Dana Larson's campaign is starting. He's working with a group called Sensible BC. The actual number of marijuana possession charges has doubled over the past, over a 10-year period, according to research by Simon Fraser University criminologist Neil Boyd. But there haven't been as many possession charges in Vancouver. So you've got a situation where different police forces are dealing with the issue differently. In some small communities and communities often policed by the RCMP, they're more aggressive in laying charges. In Vancouver, they tend to let people off with a warning. One of the things Police Chief Jim Chu in Vancouver would like to do is have the right to give tickets to people for marijuana possession. And that might be a $300 fine That would increase revenue coming into the governments. But it's something Dana Larson opposes because he says they're still going to charge people, plus they'll give tickets, and he feels that that's going in the exact wrong direction, and he would like to see a situation where there are fewer penalties rather than more penalties.